When did you realize your base translator was actually Special Forces? I found out during the worst firefight of my deployment in Afghanistan. We had this local translator named Omar who'd been working with our unit for about 6 months. Quiet guy, maybe 35 years old, spoke perfect English with just a slight accent. Always wore civilian clothes, carried a beaten-up notebook, seemed like your typical contract linguist. But something felt off about him from day one. Omar moved differently than other translators. While they'd duck and cover at the first sound of gunfire, he'd stay calm, scanning the horizon like he was assessing threats instead of hiding from them. His language skills were too good. Not just English and Pashto, but he'd slip into Arabic, Farsi, even some Russian when talking to different groups. Most translators stick to 2 languages max. Omar seemed to know everything. The real red flag was his tactical knowledge. During briefings, he'd point out details on maps that even our intelligence guys missed. Knows exactly which routes insurgents used, which villages had Taliban sympathizers, which tribal leaders could be trusted. When we questioned him about it, Omar would just shrug. I grew up here, he'd say. You learn to pay attention if you want to survive. Made sense, but something still bothered me about his answers. Then came that Tuesday in March. We were escorting a supply convoy through a narrow valley when the ambush hit. RPGs from 3 different positions, automatic weapons fire from elevated terrain, textbook kill zone setup. Our vehicles got separated. I was in the lead Humvee with Staff Sergeant Mike and 2 other guys when we took a direct hit. RPG shrapnel shredded our rear tire. Engine started smoking. We were sitting ducks. That's when Omar did something that changed everything. Instead of taking cover like any civilian would do, he grabbed the radio from our disabled vehicle, started calling in coordinates in perfect military terminology. This is Reaper 6, we have troops in contact. Grid 41 SPR 123456789. Multiple shooters in elevated positions, request immediate air support. His voice was completely calm, professional. This wasn't a scared translator. This was someone with serious combat experience. Then he did something that made my blood run cold. Pulled an M4 rifle from somewhere in our vehicle. Not a pistol that some translators carry for protection. A fully automatic assault rifle with advanced optics. Started laying down suppressive fire with precision I'd only seen from special operations guys. While he kept the insurgents busy, Omar coordinated our evacuation using tactical hand signals I'd learned in advanced infantry training. Stuff that regular translators definitely don't know. He moved between positions like he'd done this 1,000 times before. Apache helicopters arrived 15 minutes later. By then, Omar had already neutralized 2 shooter positions and guided our entire convoy to safety. 6 vehicles, 24 soldiers, 0 casualties. Perfect execution under extreme pressure. After we got back to base, I cornered him in the translator compound. Omar, what the hell was that out there? Nobody moves like that without serious training. He looked around to make sure we were alone, then pulled out a different ID card. Not his translator credentials, a military identification showing his real rank and unit. Master Sergeant Omar Hassan, 5th Special Forces Group. Been embedded with your unit for intelligence gathering. That convoy ambush was exactly the kind of information we needed to track insurgent movement patterns. Everything made sense suddenly. His tactical knowledge, language skills, combat experience. Omar wasn't just a translator helping us communicate. He was a Green Beret using our unit as cover for a classified mission. The fake translator story was perfect camouflage. Insurgents see American soldiers, they plan attacks. They see a local civilian working with Americans, they ignore him completely. He'd been gathering intelligence for months while we thought he was just helping with conversations. 2 weeks later, Omar disappeared. Our captain said his contract ended, but I knew better. He'd probably moved on to another unit, playing the same role somewhere else. 6 months after I got home, I saw a news report about a major Taliban network getting dismantled in Afghanistan. The reporter mentioned intelligence provided by unnamed special operations assets embedded with regular army units. I recognized the valley where they conducted the raids. Same area where Omar had been asking all those detailed questions about local politics and insurgent activities. Turns out our quiet translator had been mapping an entire enemy network while teaching us how to say hello in Pashto.